Hi, yes, it's me, Flairon. Yes, I know this isn't Tetris or anything else video game related, but I'm too bored and I ran out of content, so yeah. I'm gonna be direct and do this intro properly since the last long form video I did had a way too large intro to video ratio. This is gonna be the first episode of talking about every single TV trope that exists in Housepets. Well, you might be wondering, what on earth is Housepets? Well, my dear viewer, Housepets is a long-running webcomic written and drawn by the author Rick Griffin featuring these anthropomorphic animals, which means they can walk and talk and do pretty much anything else that humans can do. Anyway, the series mostly revolves around the two main characters, Peanut and Grape, the pet siblings of the Sandwich household, in a pet-friendly neighborhood, Babylon Gardens. It's mostly a slice-of-life oriented series, but there are points where, well, things get involved and it starts to become a shonen anime, to say the least. And that begs the second question. What is a TV trope? TV Tropes is a wiki website that collects and documents descriptions and examples of plot conventions and devices, which it refers to as tropes, within many creative works. Since its establishment in 2004, the site has shifted focus from covering various tropes to those in general media, toys, writing, and their associated fandoms, as well as some non-media subjects such as history, geography, and politics. But that's all lame. Since there are way too many TV tropes to throw into one video, there's gonna be a multi-part series where each episode is named after the first letter of the tropes within has. Okay, before I continue, there are going to be spoilers, so if you haven't read the Housepets series, it's about time you do before watching this video. But if you have already read the whole thing, or you just don't mind spoilers, you can stay around, but do what you want to do. I'm not pointing a gun at you and telling you to do as I say. So anyway, in alphabetical order, let us dive into every single TV trope that happens to exist in Housepets. Very nearly, just before it's announced that they have become the pet heir to the Milton fortune, the Milton ferrets can be seen in a cardboard box with "free" written on the side. The author chose to prematurely end the story arc, which depicted catnip use as similar to smoking marijuana because it would break the self-imposed PG rating, although catnip itself is still seen in later strips. The two other arcs were aborted by acts of God. The arc specifically about being naked was killed by a broken computer, and All Hallows Ween was ended by a medical emergency. Subverted with All's Fair, the author had a health flare-up that led him to urgent care, but it timed perfectly with the Year 7 milestone. He respectively took a week off, did a week-long spot arc, and resumed All's Fair with a part 2. In-universe, Peanut realizes the Guys and Dolls Imaginate show within the show is running along and ends it with a cardboard sign saying, "Everyone gets married, the end." Sasha's owner is a drunk guy who yells at her and locks her outside all night in the snow. Pretty much all of the cats, dogs, and rabbits wear collars as their only attire. Sasha often uses pet names for the other dogs. She calls Foxy, Foxybon, Bino, Binybon, and Kevin, Kevy. Grape calls Maxwell, Maxie. She also expressively forbids Peanut from calling Maxwell that. Bailey calls King, Kingy. Bino tries calling Duchess by a pet name, but she won't allow him to do so in public. It should also be noted that Sasha has once called a king Kingy in this one strip, but it's not listed in the TV Tropes website, so take that as you will. Oh hey, more extras! Here we can see Sabrina calling Fido Fighty, and on the other hand, the roles are now reversed as Fido calls Sabrina Savvy. Pretty much the whole point of the Imaginate arcs, which are comic retellings of classics such as Macbeth, Guys and Dolls, And Then There Were None, and Jurassic Park. Keen is given one in the 4 animals you meet in heaven, meeting each of the titular animals while trying to figure out how he got here in the first place. Jasper is seen being given a hot foot by Jinx the Mouse while wooing a white female cat, a Toodles Galore counterpart, as a shout out to Tom and Jerry. Universes and Unrealities, a cosmic level of the game's namesake. Played with regarding the wolves, they initially cause quite a stir when they move into the neighborhood, but integrate without too much trouble. A commonly used ending for any of the mortals' dealings with the celestial nerds, it doesn't negate what happened, but becomes a convenient way to close off an audience with the gods. King even calls Pete out on the use of a dream explanation here. Subverted at the end of Heaven's Not Enough, when Great Kitsune surprises everyone by not invoking the dream excuse, which leaves all the mortals involved in the middle of Australia. The fight when it's revealed that all main characters are NPCs in a Dungeons & Dragons ripoff, the deities are quick to point out that the universe and everyone inside it existed before they turned it into a game setting, so it's all just as real as before. Invoked in the penultimate strip of The Four Animals You Meet in Heaven, Cerberus uses the dream rationale on Key while restoring his life and returning him to just a few moments before what was his death. The ultimate payoff of the Temple Crashers arc, everything actually happened, but this ends up being how Keen gets everyone trapped inside of the collapsing temple to safety, since he wields the power of dreams there. Naturally, he's none too happy about the anticlimactic resolution. Heaven, Hell, and the multiverse are all real. Griffins, Kitsune, and Dragon exist alongside multiple fantasy species alluded to. Cerberus is the Grim Reaper. When asked about the existence of frost giants, Sabrina sums it up by saying everything is a thing. Applies to Joey, a canine, most acutely because he strongly identifies with felines, to the point that he's a cat cosplayer. He even plays Rudolph in A Christmas Pagan. Tiger qualifies as well, being a dog with a cat's name. The official names of several characters are only given within the tags of each comic. This also holds for any official monikers a character may have, such as the other Daryl, referring to a big eater wolf who happens to have the same name as another character. Especially in the later comics, the alt text occasionally provides a secondary punchline for the strip, or just some other humorous comment. Peanut, Grape, Max, and Terror are magically made to look and sound different from their usual selves in the Pride Lands Imagine It, thanks to Terran's powers. Spo comes from a very large family. How large? The sibling born immediately after him is named SPP. Happens in the Gallifrax Protocol arc in which Terra, Peanut, Grape, and Max visit an alternate Earth where they resemble normal animals instead of their usual funny animal appearance. Grape is a purple cat. Turns out there's a good reason why she's named Grape Jelly. Jasper, an XP of Tom from Tom and Jerry, is indigo colored. Normally averted, though there are a few exceptions. The Biggles worse. There are several of them and they look identical. Even they have trouble knowing what sex their feline family members are. Fiddler and Keys. We know one is male and the other is female, but there has been so far no indication of which is which. Given that the former is a calico cat, chances are very good Fiddler is female though. When the Pine Martin Masseuse Brielle was introduced, their sex was ambiguous. It was eventually revealed that he was male. Peanut automatically assumed Grape was male for some time until she revealed otherwise. It proved hard for him to process. Bruce and Roosevelt, judging from this strip, where they're practically cuddling on the couch while watching American football, later they share a rather intimate moment in what looks like to be a hot tub, but turns out to be the otter spool with the heater cranked. Their status has become less ambiguous with this comic. Corey the Skunk, who in his first appearance flirts with Zach, although that just could be his pattern as part of the con. Brielle, who when introduced was very friendly with Keen, like with Bruce and Roosevelt, his status was eventually confirmed. Sabrina used to date Maxwell, and they're still on fairly friendly terms with one another. Kix's relationship with Kitsune essentially revolved around this, as when she's upset with him, Kitsune allows her to beat him up because he can take it, and it helps to balance out their dynamic. Housepets 5000 BC is set, contrary to the title, in 3000 BC, during the proto-dynastic period of Egypt stated by Peanut here. However, Peanut encounters a saber-toothed cat in the arc which would die on the late Pleistocene epoch, around 9700 BC. Peanut has strong feelings for Grape, and while she insists that they are more than just friends, she also claims that she is not romantically attracted to dogs. Played with nonetheless, as apparently mushiness is okay. See these 4 examples. Marion is made to finish his last year of high school after being turned into a squirrel, deconstructed by his attempts to find a college afterwards, as none will allow him in for fear of what may happen to him surrounded by larger humans. Not outright hatred, per se, but the good old dogs club only emits dogs. And then there's the interspecies romance taboo. Several strips are made of the human Miltons trying to steal back their fortune from the ferret Miltons. As the niece and nephew of the late Henry Milton, Celia and Thomas believe themselves to be more deserving of this money than the pet heirs he gave it to. This hatred only increases when they see the lavish ways said ferrets throw away their money on live television. This comes to bite Thomas Milton in the ass, although Celia Milton gets off scot-free. In the first Christmas strip, after Joey gives his girlfriend Squeak a block of cheese, she tells him straight out, the whole cheese thing is a stereotype. Based on his first appearance, some readers assumed that Corey was on the way of joining the long list of cartoon skunk bad guys. They ended up being right. Spot bracket Superdog is a show within a show comic book about one of these, drawn by Peanut himself. Several filler arcs show the stylistic suck adventures contained inside. Peanut is portrayed as being a group of malevolent, crusading nutcases during the A Sinister Shadow arc. All of the demonic and celestial forces in the Housepets universe take the forms of animals, some mythological, some real. Even the Forgotten, the least humanized and most eldritch abomination, resembles a goat/T-Rex-B monster. Natural, given the rating, however, given a lampshade when Grape asks how Peanut didn't know she was female despite both of them being naked. Almost all dogs, cats, rabbits, and raccoons are the same size, about waist height on a human, while mice are about real-life size, and ferrets, plus King and Terror, on a scale are somewhere between them. The wolves are huge and muscle-packed, apparently from living in the wild, while real wolves are smaller than some dog breeds. Equines and kangaroos, despite being sapient the same as everyone else, are no more outwardly anthropomorphic than their real-life counterparts, and are of the same size as them. In short, the consistency is all over the place with this comic. After all the build-up and explosions, the final battle of the first Imagine is ceased when Jill Sandwich comes home and brings back batteries for Peanut's 3DS. Lois accepts the fact that she, her boyfriend, and Thomas have been transformed into animals, yet finds it hard to believe that demigods are responsible. Lampshaded when Fido voices skepticism that Marion has been turned into a squirrel. Not a marriage, yet, but the whole reason Peanut and Terror ended up being together is because Spirit Dragon asked Terror to contract Peanut. This was to keep Pete from trying to take Peanut as an avatar. Terror, especially early on, tends to follow dire predictions with more mundane inconveniences, like this one. Compare this comic to the next days. A second evolution was implemented around October 2012, this one a conscious decision by the artist for a new art style. This change is summarized here and here, the latter comparing Fox's second strip appearing to how he looks currently, minus the scar on his eye. An in-universe inversion occurs with Peanut's Spot Superdog comics, where the characters actually look more primitive in later incarnations. Compare his first appearance with how he's drawn here. Play for laughs in-universe within That's Why You Save It for the Covers, where the last panel of a show within the show, Spot Superdog, was drawn well by Joey, causing it to heavily stand out from the rest of the normally stylistic suck comic. The punchline of the comic is that said drawing was actually commissioned, Peanut didn't expect to have to pay. In a meta sense, with the author's shift to a more comic book-like style of page, with the 101st chapter, there are some changes. The colors are more muted, the background is more detailed, and the female animals, at least the dogs, from what's been seen so far, have more noticeable assets. More and more characters, the Wolfpack, Itsuki, the Galactic Nerds, the Forest Creatures, the Zoo Creatures, Terry Shad, have been introduced into the ship over the years who wouldn't exactly be considered house pets. In-universe example, as Peanut is drafted by Grape to roleplay relationship-related interactions for Territ. Kitsune quotes Matthew 23:17, "You blind fools, which is greater, the gold or the temple that makes the gold sacred?" He refers to Jesus as a good friend of his. In this comic, Keening is seen with a soot black-ended face after he opens an exploding gag Christmas gift from Bino. Peanut in the fourth panel of this comic glances at the audience after Grape solves his problem by simply breaking the remote control to Bino's shock collar, cutting off Peanut's rambling, panicked explanation so she could take a nap in peace. Bruno the Bear gives a sidelong glance to the reader when Bino challenges her as part of his attempt to become an honorary wolf, displaying her disbelief that such a small canine seriously thinks that waving around a stick is going to scare her off. Miles and his pack strike stylized heroic positions just before coming to Fido's defense near the end of the Jungle Fever arc. Play straight with Thomas when Sophia hits on him after he becomes a camel like her, thanks to Pete's cursed treasure. Inverted with King when he meets Bailey, since in that case he's the one who falls in love and wasn't of her species to start with. In both cases, it's love at first sight. In-universe, lampshaded by Grape in The Boring Adventures of Spot, when she suggests Peanut has stopped telling a story and has started soapboxing instead. Maxwell gets one from Rufus, oddly enough, especially because Rufus is a dog, which Maxwell has been shown to be quite smug about. Because Rufus lives on the sandwich farm, it was also a question of how he met Rufus in the first place. It furthermore doesn't help that Grape wants to know all the fun, juicy details of why Rufus kissed him, as Maxwell blushes even more obviously. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video to the end, it means so much to me. I know this isn't the usual Tetris clips style video, but trust me, those will still be coming out. I just had this idea for a video on a really good webcomic that I like, so if you like this style of video, please do let me know. Anyway, subscribe for more, like if you liked it, join my Discord if you want, and follow my Twitter if you feel like it. That's it for now, see ya!